Hi,
Great.
how are you?
I'm good, Ira. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Thank you so much for chatting with me. I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate you wanting to chat with me, so mutual.
Well, Passages is a wonderful story. It's a wonderful film. I'm just wondering what excited you to tell it. What brought this story to you?
I wanted to make a really intimate film. I felt, particularly during the pandemic, that I missed intimacy, and I also kind of was really about the messiness of everyday life. So I wanted to make a film that was heightened and romantic and super sexy. And as an old man like myself, that was a good challenge. I was like, be aware of scandals and what is possible between human beings.
I love that, and it shows up, absolutely shows up on screen. I would love to talk to you about these characters because some of them are just they're so complex, especially Tomas. I was wondering what is it you think that drives him as a character?
Ambition for more. He's someone who always sees just a little bit beyond what's available, and I think he gets turned on by 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 the possibility of acquiring, of gaining more. He's also someone who doesn't want to be out of control. So once someone takes some control, and I think what's interesting about the triangle in Passages is that power shifts in every scene. So it's never settled who has the power, and that creates a dynamic of suspense in a certain way. Everybody is after something that they can't have.
That is so interesting as well because that is there's something about these characters that, like you said, they keep wanting what they can't have. They keep pushing for more, and Tomas especially, he says that he wants to be happy. But I was wondering, what do you think that means? Like that we throw that word around so openly and honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to be happy, and he's not.
Hmm. I think certain words are like too complex for the simplicity in which they seem to be used. Like happy, very complicated word. Love is the one that I think of most,
Yeah.
which it seems to be you can use it as if it's nothing, but it also does thousand pages. Like there's no end to the possibilities of contradictions when it comes to human relationships. And I think that's what's exciting when you make a movie is this sense that everything is itself and the opposite. And I think, I get inspired by filmmakers like John Cassavetes, for example, in which you always feel that there is a possibility for any actor to behave in a totally ulterior motive. And I mean, an ulterior direction than they did most before. Like there's a cinema of freedom that I aspire to.
Mm. I, I love that. I love that. It's so interesting because you know these characters in this film, the relationships between them, they are complicated, and you don't paint them with a simple brush. Everybody is built with different shades, different types or different aspects of themselves and their relationships. Um, and one of the things I thought was so fascinating is the idea of to know another person.
Mm.
So Tomas says that to, forgive me, I forget what his
Barton or Agathe.
yes, Agathe says
Yeah.
she will. It seems that when they're speaking together and he's speaking about his husband, what terrifies him the most is that he knows him.
Hmm. Hmm.
I just was wondering, from your perspective, why is that such a terrifying process? Not just for Tomas, but that seems like a pretty common thing. People are scared to be truly known.
You're asking such interesting philosophic questions, which in a way the film raises, I'm glad you're asking them, because that means the film provoked these thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's not a film necessarily of resolution.
Yeah.
So to resolve those thoughts is less possible. I think in a way what cinema does is it can see individuals in moments in which they don't know themselves, right? Like it can observe people in silence.
Mm.
It can observe people in moments in which they are alone. It can observe also desire. Like the camera can see desire. And I think that means the camera is almost in the minds of these individuals in a certain, gives a complexity to the film.
Yeah, I was wondering that too, because like you said,
Sure.
there's a real humanness. There's a real humanness to these characters, um, and you're talking about the way cinema interacts with people. What is it about cinema as a medium to you that can help take reality and bring it to life on screen?
Well, I almost am interested in the opposite, which is that
Mm,
it takes reality and turns it into cinema. So
interesting.
this film is textured very realistically, but the costumes and the lighting and the movie stars are not everyday things. They exist in a world of cinema. So I'm inspired by films like Contempt by Jean-Luc Godard,
Yeah.
where you're like, it's a story of a marriage, but the marriage is between Belmondo and Bardot. You know, it's not like my marriage. And I think that's something that this film takes pleasure in. Adele Exarchopoulos plays an elementary school teacher, but she's dressed like a French movie star.
Yeah.
Right. So the movie tries to create an almost unreal atmosphere, which lingers in the audience's memory.
Yeah, that's fascinating because it is sort of a hyper reality with very
Right.
human grounded emotions in the midst of it. Um, that's
That's right.
fascinating.
That's right.
Yeah. One thing too, again, thinking of these relationships and the characters, going back to that, one of the things that Tomas asks for is patience. But you understand the you understand Agathe's position. You understand his husband. Um,
Martin.
yes, their positions as well. Uh, I was just wondering, from your perspective, what role do you think we need in terms of having patience with one another in these things? Because certainly Tomas is almost a very immature character in so many ways. Yet he's dealing with,
Like a lot of men, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Maybe we just need to have patience with men. Is that what so many men need
I
it?
don't know. I mean, I think to me the word men means violence.
Mm,
And 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 I think that's and I include myself,
yeah,
obviously. Like and I also think drama is violence.
yeah,
The consequences of our actions on others is the nature of conflict and is the nature of narrative. So um I don't know. The film is almost paced too fast for anyone to have much patience. Like it's an action film. Um, you know, Tom Cruise be damned. I've made an action film because it's a film about a propulsive, combustive relationship between individuals knocking into each other
yeah,
and changing in the process.
yeah. I had to laugh. You say that, about Tom Cruise because I mean, Tomas is on his bike half the movie, so he's just not got the cardio that Tom Cruise with.
I know. Franz Rogowski was riding about 35 kilometers an hour through the Paris streets from like 4 to 9 p.m. And so he's a physical being that Tom Cruise would only wish to be.
I love that. Ira, like I said, the film is wonderful. The storytelling is beautiful. The relationships are beautiful and complex.
Thank you.
Just wondering
Thank you.
for you as an artist, what is it that you hope audiences take away from the film?
I hope they enjoy themselves. In some way, I mean that very simply. I hope that the film gives pleasure, and also some form of intimacy, that something in the film makes people feel connected to themselves, really. I find that my experience in a movie theater can be so pleased if in the sense that I'm alone, but I'm with and in this other world that envelops me. And so that's what I hope for this film.
I very much appreciate that. Thank you so much for the time, Ira. It's a real privilege to speak to you, and I wish you the best. Thank you so much.
Have a good afternoon.
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.